Today on the show, I talk about some alternate universe Daredevils. Hello and welcome to the show with issues. I'm Auram, and this Friday, Marvel's Daredevil Netflix series will be released. So, since everyone is excited for it, I decided that I'd do something related to the Man Without Fear. So after some thinking and research, I settled on talking about alternate universe Daredevils, the Daredevils of other worlds. That all being said, let's get started. Alright, so first up is the most obvious alternate version of the Man Without Fear, Ultimate Daredevil. The Ultimate Universe, also known as Earth 1610, is probably the biggest Marvel universe next to the original, Earth 616. It was started in 2000 with Brian Michael Bendis' Ultimate Spider-Man in an effort by Marvel to make comics more appealing to new readers. They also tried modernizing everyone's origins while still changing some things. Daredevil, however, is left alone for the most part. As a boy, he was blinded, which in turn heightened the other senses and unlocked the ability for him to use a radar sense, just like the 616 Daredevil. Matt decided that he would go to law school to fulfill a promise he made with his late father, and met a girl named Elektra who he would soon develop a strong relationship with. The rest of his origin unfolded, which eventually led him to a vendetta against the Kingpin. Murdock was killed in the huge ultimatum wave that Magneto sent off in New York. Not long after, Ultimate Daredevil was replaced by a boy named Raymond Connor. Raymond Connor was found by Stick, Daredevil's mentor, and was trained to hone his abilities. He started roaming Hell's Kitchen in Matt's honor, but eventually was bitten by a vampire and attempted to convert all of the Avengers as well. After he and his fellow vampires attempted to brutally murder Blade, they were all teleported to Iran, where it was currently daytime. They all combusted because, you know, vampires. Next up is the Matthew Murdock of 1602, or Earth 311. In this alternate reality, the superhero boom began in the year 1602, and every hero was changed because of this. Daredevil is no different. In this universe, he is known as the Bard, and seems to have the same powers as classic Daredevil, with, of course, the addition of his great singing powers. Matt Murdock traveled as a balladeer singing songs of great heroes while being available as an adventurer for hire. His biggest mission was given to him by Sir Nicholas Fury, and was basically just to protect Donal, the mortal form of this world's Thor. He protected Donal until he transformed into Thor, and then went on to protect Fury. Not much else is known about what the Bard is up to today, but he's probably still singing his great heroic ballads. This next Daredevil is a little bit obscure. He's from a pocket dimension created by AIM in an attempt to accrue advanced technology from various heroes. This pocket dimension is known as Earth 13584. The Murdock of this world was a hero for hire and eventually ended up as a peon in Spider-Man's gang, who, in this universe, ran a section of Hell's Kitchen. Came into conflict with the Dark Avengers when they were jumping between realities to try and find their lost teammates Moonstone and Scar. I really just wanted to mention this version of the character because of the interesting take on the classic costume. It's a very different design for such a short-lived reality. Next up is the Daredevil of Earth 295, where Age of Apocalypse took place. Age of Apocalypse is basically a reality where Apocalypse began his campaign for world domination 20 years earlier than the boom of heroes. Because of this, heroes like the Avengers and Fantastic Four were nowhere to be found, and the only opposition to his reign were Magneto and his X-Men. Along with the lack of those heroes was a lack of a traditional Daredevil. When Apocalypse took over, Matthew Murdock was put to work on Apocalypse Island. When he was a teenager, he was caught in an accident which blinded him and heightened his other senses. Murdock was offered a place in Mikhaili Rasputin's Upstart program, which was basically an effort by Rasputin to power normal humans so that they could oppose the mutants. Matt accepted and was given a special visor which allowed him to see through infrared. Keeper Murdock became a loyal servant to Mikhaili and later realized that the Upstart program was really just a ploy to enslave the rest of humanity for Apocalypse. Quit working for Mikhaili and went on to hunt for Weapon Omega, this world's Wolverine. The last Daredevil I want to talk about is from Earth 65, the home reality of Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman. This version of Daredevil isn't exactly Daredevil yet. He's just Matt Murdock, a lawyer who works for the Kingpin, or so he says. There's currently a popular fan theory going around that basically says that he's the Kingpin and he's just using his lawyer self as a cover. This is a really cool theory in my opinion, and I hope we see it come to fruition before this Earth is destroyed in an incursion. So that's all the Daredevils I wanted to go in depth with. There are a whole lot more versions of the character, but these are the ones that really stuck out to me. A lot of the time with alternate universe characters, they just make a quick cameo and are assumed to be very similar to their 616 counterpart. And of course there are all the what if stories, the zombieverse and mangaverse, and all the other versions presented in other media like video games and movies. Speaking of which, I wonder how similar the Daredevil of the MCU is going to be to his comic counterparts. I would imagine he's going to be a blend of 616 and 1610 Daredevils with some liberties taken by the writers as always. I guess we'll find out on Friday. A little bit of an above average week for me. I'm getting 8 titles, including Spider-Woman issue 6, Avengers World issue 19, and all new Hawkeye issue 2. We're getting more backstory for the Time Runs Out stuff in Avengers World, and more Spider-Woman is always a treat for me. Also, I should probably mention that I am getting my first DC books this week. I'm gonna pick up Convergence issue 0 and Convergence issue 1 and see if I'm not too confused. Anyway, here's the rest of my stuff and Marvel and DC's big lists. And that's another show. Hope you guys liked all those Daredevils. I was surprised to find so many versions of the character. Daredevil is just one of those characters who's somewhat popular but is easily forgotten when naming the greats of Marvel. Maybe that'll change after the Netflix series is released. Who knows? If you're from the future or are watching this after the fact and have already seen the show, then how was it? Unfortunately, I'm not a time traveler, so I haven't seen the show yet, but I might talk a little bit about it on the show with reviews, which will be released later this week. Probably on Saturday. I'm also starting to shoot a short film this weekend, which I think you guys will definitely like, so get excited for that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Next time, I'm probably finally going to talk about something related to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.